Hi there, and welcome to our podcast. And this week at London Visited, we go to Pall Mall to tell you all about this iconic part of London. My name's Steve, and each week I'll bring to you the facts, history and information about different parts of this great capital. If you've been to London, are planning on visiting, live here, or just love London from afar, then this is the podcast for you. Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel, London Visited, to see videos covering this place and so many others across London. And now to this week's podcast. Pall Mall is around 0.4 miles long and runs east in the St James's area from St James's Street across Waterloo Place to the Haymarket and continues as Pall Mall east towards Trafalgar Square. It's part of the A4, which is a major road running west from central London. Pall Mall was constructed in 1661, replacing an earlier highway slightly to the south that ran from the Haymarket, approximately where Warwick House Street is now, to the royal residence, St James's Palace. Historical research suggests the road had been in this location since Saxon times, although the earliest documentary references are from the 12th century, in connection with a leper colony at St James's Hospital. When St James's Park was laid out by order of Henry VIII in the 16th century, the park's boundary wall was built along the south side of the road. In 1620, the Privy Council ordered a High Sheriff of Middlesex to clear a number of temporary buildings next to the wall that were of poor quality. Pall Mall, a ball game similar to croquet, was introduced to England in the early 17th century by James I. The game, already popular in France and Scotland, was enjoyed by James's sons, Henry and Charles. In 1630, St James's Field, London's first Pall Mall court, was laid out to the north of Haymarket, St James's Road. After the Restoration and King Charles II's return to London on the 29th of May 1660, another Pall Mall court was constructed in St James's Park, just south of the wall, on the site of the Mall. Samuel Pepys's diary entry for the 2nd of April 1661 records that he went to St James's Park, where I saw the Duke of York playing at Pall Mall, the first time that I ever saw the sport. This new court suffered from dust blown all over the wall from coaches travelling along the highway. In July 1661, posts and rails were erected, stopping the old road. The court for Pall Mall was very long and narrow and often known as an alley. So the old court, namely St James's Field, provided a suitable route for relocating the eastern approach to St James's Palace. A grant was made to Dan O'Neill, groom of the bedchamber, and John Denham, surveyor of the King's Works, allocating a 1,400 by 23 foot area of land for this purpose. The grant was endorsed, a warrant for the building of a new street at St James's. The new road was built on the site of the old Pall Mall Court and opened in September 1661. It was named Catherine Street after Catherine of Braganza, wife of Charles II, but was better known as Pall Mall Street or Old Pall Mall. The Pall Mall Field was a popular place for recreation, and Pepys records several other visits. By July 1665, Pepys used Pall Mall to refer to the street as well as the game. In 1662, Pall Mall was one of several streets thought fit immediately to be repaired, new paved or otherwise amended, under the Streets, London and Westminster Act of 1662. The paving commissioners appointed to oversee the work included the Earl of St Albans. The terms of the Act allowed commissioners to remove any building encroaching on the highway, with compensation for those of at least 30 years old. The commissioners determined that the real tennis court and adjoining house at the northeast corner of Pall Mall and St James's Street should be demolished, and in 1664 notified Martha Barker, the owner of the Crown lease, to do so. Although Barker initially rejected £230 compensation, the court was demolished by 1679. The street was developed extensively during 1662 to 1667. The Earl of St Albans had a lease from the Crown in 1662 on 45 acres of land, previously part of St James's Field. He laid out the site for the development of St James's Square, Jermyn Street, Charles's Street, St Albans Street, King Street and other streets now known as St James's. The location was convenient for the royal palaces of Whitehall and St James, and the houses on the east, north and west sides of the square were developed along with those on the north side of Pall Mall, each constructed separately, as was usual for the time. Houses were not built along the square's south side at first, or the adjoining part of Pall Mall. The Earl petitioned the King, late in 1663, that the class of occupants they hoped to attract in the new district would not take houses without the prospect of eventually acquiring them outright. despite opposition from the Lord Treasurer, the Earl of Southampton, on the 1st of April 1665. The King granted the Earl of St Albans the freehold of the St James's Square site, along with all the ground on the north side of Pall Mall, between St James's Street and the east side of St James's Square. The freehold of the north side of Pall Mall subsequently passed to other private owners. The Crown kept the freehold of the land south of the street except for number 79, which was granted to Nell Gwyn's trustees in 1676 by Charles II. The buildings constructed on the south side of Pall Mall in subsequent years were grander than those on the north, owing to stricter design and building standards imposed by the Crown Commissioners. When the main road was relocated further north, some houses suddenly had their backs facing the main road, losing available land for gardening. In 1664, residents filed a petition to turn the old road into gardens, which was successful. The trustees of the Earl of St Albans received a 60-year lease on most of this from April 1665, so that the trustees could issue subleases to their tenants. Several other portions of the old highway were leased for construction. At the east end, land was leased to Sir Philip Warwick, who built Warwick House, now the location of Warwick House Street, and to Sir John Denham. This parcel of land became part of the grounds of Marlborough House. Portions leased to the west end included the land between St James's Palace and the tennis court at the corner of St James's Street, and a parcel of land leased to the Duchess of Cleveland that became the site of 8 to 12 Cleveland Row and Stornoway House. The 18th century London bookseller Andrew Miller also lived in a townhouse designed by Robert Adam at 34 Pall Mall. By the 18th century, Pall Mall was well known for its shops as well as its grand houses. The shops included that of the Volumni family, who made clocks at number 68 between 1765 and 1854. Robert Dodsley ran a bookshop at number 52, where he suggested the idea of a dictionary to Samuel Johnson. Writers and artists began to move to Pall Mall during this century. Both Richard Cosway and Thomas Gainsborough lived at Schmallenberg House at numbers 80 to 82. The street was one of the first in London to be lit by gas, after Frederick Windsor set up experimental lighting on the 4th of June 1807 to celebrate King George III's birthday. Permanent lighting was installed in 1820. The eastern end of Pall Mall was widened between 1814 and 1818. A row of houses at its north side was demolished to make way for the Royal Opera Arcade. Pall Mall is known for various gentlemen's clubs built there in the 19th and early 20th centuries. The Travellers' Club was founded in 1819 and moved to number 49 Pall Mall in 1822. Its current premises at number 106 were built in 1823 by Charles Barry. The Athenaeum Club took its name from the Athenaeum in Rome, a university bounded by the Emperor Hadrian. The club moved to 107 Pall Mall in 1830 from tenements in Somerset House. The Reform Club at numbers 104 to 105 was founded for the British Radicals in 1836. The Army and Navy Club at numbers 36 to 39 was founded in 1837. The name was suggested by the Duke of Wellington in order to accommodate Royal Navy members. Other clubs on Pall Mall include the United Service Club, now occupied by the Institute of Directors, and the Oxford and Cambridge Club, and the Royal Automobile Club, RAC. Pall Mall was one centre of London's fine art scene. In 1814, the Royal Academy, the National Gallery, and Christie's Auction House were all based on the street. The freehold of much of the southern side of Pall Mall is owned by the Crown Estate. In addition to St James's Palace, Marlborough House, which was once a royal residence, is its neighbour to the east, opening off a courtyard just to the south of the street. It was built for Sarah, Duchess of Marlborough, who laid the foundation stone in 1709, with the building complete by 1711. The house reverted to the Crown ownership in 1817. The future King George V was born here in 1865 and briefly lived in the house as Prince of Wales during the reign of his father, Edward VII. It became government-owned in 1959 and houses now the Commonwealth Secretariat and the Commonwealth Foundation. The Prince Regent's Carlton House was built at the eastern end of Pall Mall in 1732 for Frederick, Prince of Wales, and later inhabited by his widow Princess Augusta. Pall Mall was the location of the War Office from 1855 to 1906, with which it became synonymous, just as Whitehall refers to the administrative centre of the UK government. The War Office was accommodated in the complex buildings based at the mansion Cumberland House. The office subsequently moved to Whitehall. So, I hope you've enjoyed our in-depth look at Pall Mall. Who would have known It all started from the name of a sport. Whatever podcast service you use to listen to this, please do subscribe to get updates on new shows, and also please do leave us some feedback. Please let me know also any places you'd like us to feature in future podcasts, and you can let me know through our website www.londonvisited.co.uk or by emailing me directly on londonvisited@gmail.com. You can also contact us on Twitter and Instagram on @LondonVisited or Facebook on @TheLondonVisited. Thanks for listening and really hope you enjoyed our podcast. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.